We're talking about the DA race in Los Angeles. And I think it's very important that this race is such an important race for every state. So mind you, maybe just because we're talking about Los Angeles County, please understand that no matter where you are in the country, the district attorney has so much to do with impacting communities of color. They make these decisions that affect us. They are the ones who make the decisions when these officers kill us and without consequences. They make the decisions about who goes to jail for killing us, because we like to focus on district attorneys when we're talking about crime, really nailing down crime in our communities. But we don't really understand how it affects when the crimes are committed against us. And it is important that you pay attention to who these people are and who they're supporting in the White House as well. So in the Los Angeles District Attorney race, we have Jackie Lacey versus San Francisco DA George Gascon. Why Los Angeles County, with the nation's largest jail system and largest prosecutor office, is considered a crown jewel in a nationwide push to elect progressive prosecutors. Law enforcement groups have contributed at least $5 million to defeat Gascon, centers his bid on reducing the criminalization of lower-level behaviors tied to mental health, homelessness, or substance abuse. Neither candidate has specifically endorsed slashing budgets or defunding the police. So I wanted you both to talk about this because I think it's important that we understand how important the DA is in our community.
I think 100%. I think that one of the best things to develop over the past year or two is an increasing acknowledgement of that nationwide. And in the 2020 election, people are paying much more attention to these races. We saw that in 2018 as well. And thankfully now we've had a couple of years to see some of the results that we've gotten with more progressive DAs in a number of cities. They're up against monumental opposition from police departments, the police union, and things like that. But in some areas, like in bail reform and things like that, we've already seen good results in other parts of the country. So hopefully people are paying attention to it here. Jackie Lacey has been involved in tight elections in the past. For me, as we'll get into this when we start talking about the ballot initiatives, I almost always start by looking at who is funding who. And it's just so clear in this case that Jackie Lacey is getting her money effectively from the police and those who represent the police's interests. And in 2020, especially of all years, that says so much about who they think is going to be willing to push for reform and who's going to protect their interests. In this case, it might be true that you're not having such a massive difference between the two as you have in some other DA races where you have a really entrenched protector of the police unions versus some like maverick progressive. But clearly there's one opportunity for at least a bit of reform, and then someone who's going to sort of represent the old guard and hold the line against anything even approaching defunding the police.
Yeah, and I just wanted to back up for 1 second about like why this conversation is like important, not just with the DA's race, which I agree with everything John has said on that, but this is one of the most important reasons to go vote, right? Because I think a lot of times when people say my vote doesn't count, who cares? I'm not going to vote. Like we're not only saying we're not going to vote in the presidential election. We're actually reducing voter turnout for all of these other races where literally dozens of votes can make a big difference in who wins elections or whether different propositions pass. So I think it's important. It's just an important reminder of why we should continue to encourage people to vote, even if they feel like the presidential election is something they're disillusioned with and something they don't want to vote for. You should still vote, I think. But even if you don't want to vote for president, you should go vote on all of these other really important measures, really important positions that affect our everyday life. And so in terms of Jackie Lacey, Jackie Lacey must go, an echo of the Black Lives Matter Los Angeles protests that I've gone to. It's every Wednesday in front of her office. And she has been a complete disaster for communities of color in Los Angeles. I voted for Gascon. I don't know, he doesn't have the most perfect record either, but I do think it's an improvement, and we'll have to continue to hold him accountable.
Yeah, I see people saying that is their right not to vote. It is, but then you are also, then don't complain. Because if you're not doing every and anything you do to participate in what's happening, then just standing from a corner and not doing anything to improve the condition of our people in this country, then you're just another, voice in the echo chamber. So I want to talk about Measure J. The Measure J would allocate 10% of LA's unrestricted general funds, around $300 million, towards alternatives to incarceration and community investment. It would bar that money from being funneled toward law enforcement. Gascon has endorsed this measure. Lacey has called it a rash response to an issue that requires more study and courageous budgeting. So I think it is important to understand that when we talk about defunding the police, which a lot of people have hijacked to meaning eradicate the police, or we are talking about the fact that redirecting police to get trained better, and also to do the business of police and not mental health experts, not being called out to deal with people who are battling with autism and end up in a hospital or dead. Some of these people who are having severe mental crises, police officers coming out who are not equipped. They're also not equipped to deal with your health issues. And when you get shot, they can't even provide you with what you need, and a lot of people die because the EMTs and the professionals, the health professionals, don't get there on time. So when we talk about Measure J, that's what we're talking about, and what you should vote. I wanted to see if either of you wanted to chime in on that, because I think that sometimes you articulate better than.
I think for me, this one's easy. It's like there isn't too much of a debate for me as to like how we should be voting on it. I voted yes. I think people should vote yes.
Jacob, go ahead, John.
Really fast. I think it's a great demonstration of what the goals of people who are saying things like defund the police actually are, rather than the demonization of that position that a lot of people have gotten from right-wing media. And I think that if you really, this is one of the areas also where you probably have a massive difference between what individual police officers think and what the elected political representatives of the police officers think, where most cops probably have no interest in doing the sorts of things that they're forced to do around the country, that they're not trained for, that they don't produce good outcomes for. They're supposed to do police stuff, but instead they have to fill in for so many people who are much better equipped, much better trained and educated. It just makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Tanya, I do want you to know that I think that is important for people to know, that Black and brown trans women are still getting killed by police and by Black and brown cisgender straight guys. And I think that, having the right people in place who care about human beings is important. And that's why we talk about these things, because nobody is eliminating trans people from the conversation. So I see you. And when someone asks if I'm encouraging people to vote the way that I vote, Jacob's trouble, I am encouraging people to use their right to vote. And everyone is not going to agree on everything. I lean more progressive with policies, and some people can be a little bit more conservative. But I think that it is our duty, our responsibility as American citizens to utilize our right to vote. A lot of people were not able to vote because it was illegal for them, or they were harassed into not voting and they were beaten, and a lot of things happened so that people could not vote. For people like me, it is important for me to show up for them. So I am not here to tell you who you need to vote for. What I'm saying is that people should use their right to vote. And if you care about the communities of color and Black people in this country, then you should take a look at not just who you're voting for, but what you're voting for and how it impacts those communities. Whether you're Black, brown, or white and call yourself an ally, you should also care about this if you call yourself an ally.